As Jonathan said, I'm Jonathan Doklovic with Developer Relations at Atlassian, and I'm here to tell you about some of the new stuff in the Atlassian Plugin SDK, as well as our Maven plugins we call AMPs, which now go to 11, as you can see. So if you've built a plugin in the recent past, you're probably familiar with AMPs, and it's pretty easy to get started. We have Atlas Create Jira plugin that also exists for Confluence, Crowd, Bamboo, what have you. And that'll create a project skeleton for you and give you a stub code to start with and a test to start with. It's also really good at helping you test your plugin because you can easily run the host product with another command, Atlas run, and that will automatically run your functional tests, and it'll help you remote debug the product in your IDE. However, we've always been lacking something, and that is we don't offer much help in the way of actually developing your plugin. So if we take a look at how you actually develop a plugin up until today, you would start by running that Atlas Create Jira plugin command. And next, you might go to the documentation to figure out what kind of module you want to put in there, get the syntax for the module, and then go back to your IDE and copy and paste that into your plugin XML. From there, you create your class, and you remember, oh, I need to extend something. So back over to the documentation, and it does tell you which class you need to extend, but it also points you to some sample code. So you decide you might want to check that out, which takes you to our plugin exchange, and if you follow the links, that'll take you to the source code, and eventually you discover, hey, they're two different classes. So you do some research, you figure out which one you want to extend, and you go ahead and extend that. Next, you decide you want to add some internationalization since there's keys all over the place in the XML, and so you do a quick Google search, which brings you to a Confluence page about internationalization. You also find a link about adding some resources to your plugin XML, and after a little bit of deciphering, you put that in your plugin XML, and you create a properties file with the correct keys in there. So you're done with almost set up for one plugin module, but you know that you need another. So you simply just repeat this process until finally you're ready to code. So over the last couple of months, we felt that maybe we can make this process a little bit easier for plugin developers. And we've been working hard, and today I present to you AMP's plugin module generation. So let's dive right in and see how it works. So here I have a blank project. It has my Atlassian Plugin XML, and it also has my POM. If I open up the POM, we can see that it's pretty basic. We have all the basic information, the group ID, all the packaging information. If we scroll down, we can see that there are a few dependencies on JUnit and some Atlassian libraries. Then if we jump over to our Atlassian Plugin XML, we can see that it's fairly empty. So now we're ready to create a plugin module. So let's hop over to our command line, and we're going to run a new command, and that is called Atlas Create, in this case, Jira plugin module. So that's Atlas Create Jira plugin module. We'll go ahead and hit enter. And that's going to bring up a list of all the available plugin modules for the version of Jira I have in my POM. If we take a look at this list, we can see that some of the modules in here are for cross-product. Some are specific to Jira. In this case, I'm going to choose the servlet module, which, as we can see, is number 20. And so I'll just go ahead and type in number 20. And it asks me for the name of my class. So since I'm building a really cool plugin, I'm going to call this the cool servlet. Hit enter, and now it asks me for the package name, and it pre-filled in .servlet on the end of my base package. I'm not going to do the advanced setup. I don't want another module. I'm done. Created a plugin module. Let's see what it looks like. So we'll reload our Atlassian Plugin XML, and we'll just refresh our source tree in Eclipse. So the first thing that we notice is that it automatically added the servlet tag for me. And if we scroll over, we can see that it put the proper class name, CoolServlet. It also took that class name and generated the name and the keys for us with some sane defaults. You can also see that it's added in that resource tag for us. And that's how we get the internationalization. And its location is Atlassian Plugin. So the file it also generated, Atlassian Plugin.properties. And if we open that guy up, see that it has our keys in there that match our plugin XML, and we're good to go. So now if we take a look at the source code for the servlet we just generated, it's in the package it created for us. Here it is. So it doesn't do too much, just says hello world, but we can see that it extends HTTP servlet, and there are no errors in Eclipse. How can that be? Well, if we open up our POM, scroll back down to our dependencies, it's aware that we need the servlet API as a dependency. So it added that, and it also added a couple of libraries for testing. So speaking of testing, it generated some tests for us. If we go back over to our tree, we can see that it generated the CoolServlet test, which is a unit test. And it also generated a functional test for us. So if we open up the CoolServlet test, again, it doesn't do much, but it's a nice stub for us. And we can immediately run it with JUnit. So we'll say run as JUnit test, and it's all green. So that's a pretty basic example of how to create a plugin module. But let's do something a little more real world. So in this case, I want to create a new action in Jira to display some content, and I'm going to link that with a web item. Back to my command line, and again, I'm going to run our command atlas create Jira plugin module. And we'll get our familiar list of plugin modules. And this time, I'm going to look for the WebWork module. So WebWork seems to be number 30 in our list. So we'll go ahead and type in number 30. And this time, it's asking us for a module name, not a class name. So I'm going to give it a module name, and we'll call this Nifty WebWork. There we go. Module. And go ahead and hit enter. This time I am going to do the advanced setup, so I just hit Y and hit enter. It fills in our plugin key based on our previous input, which is all good. And it fills in our description based on our previous input, all good. And there are the keys filled in. And here we go at action class name. So my WebWork module needs an action class. I'm going to call this one Cool Action, because again, it's a really cool plugin. And now it's prompting us for the package we want to put it in. And I'm fine with jira.webwork, so I'll just hit enter. And here's the alias cool action, which is what we're going to use on the URL to get to that action. A success view. And here you can see that the template path was generated for us. And I'm pretty OK with nifty WebWork module cool action success.vm. So I'll say OK. I don't need another view, and I don't need another action. However, I do need another plugin module. So we'll just say yes, so we don't have to restart Maven. And this time I'm going to create a web item, so we can link it to that action that I just created. So here's our familiar list again. We'll find web item, which is number 24. Type in 24. And here's the module name. This time I'm going to call it the really cold web item, because it's cooler than our action. And here it's asking me for a section, and you'll notice that this is in red. That's because this is a required field, and it doesn't have a default value. So if I just hit enter, it's just going to prompt me again. I'm in Jira 4.4. I'm going to put in the section as admin plugins menu put it in the drop-down menu in the administrator, and I want it in the testing section. So I'm going to tack on testing section at the end there. And now it's asking me, where do I want to link this web item? Well, I want to link it to the action that I just created. So that's going to be /secure and coolaction.jspa. I'm going to go ahead and go through the advanced setup. And here we go. This should start looking familiar to you. The key, the description, the name. In this case, we have a weight. 1,000's fine by me. There are some other things we could add, the labels, the icons, the tooltips, add a resource. What I'm really looking for is a condition. So I don't want to display this link to just anybody. I only want administrators to see it. I'll add a condition. I'm going to say the type is an AND condition. You can choose AND or. And here's a list of all the conditions built into the version of Jira that I specified in my POM. So I went out and inspected Jira to find this list. In this case, I'm looking for the Jira global permission condition, which is number 35. So I'll go ahead and type in 35. And now it's asking me if I want to add a parameter. And this does need a parameter, so I'll say yes. Name is going to be permission. Value is going to be admin, because again, I only want admins to see this link. So here it's showing us the params I already entered in, and it's asking me if I need another one, and I don't, so I'll say no. I don't need to invert the condition, which would do the reverse of what I want. So I'll just go ahead and say no, and I don't need another condition. So no again. And I think I'm done for now, so I'll just end it. And we'll flip back over to Eclipse and reload our changes to the plugin XML and also into our file tree. So if we take a look at the plugin XML, servlet's still there, and it's added the web work module for us. And you can see that it's filled in all of the keys and the descriptions based on our input. And it also has the action class that we told it to create with our alias cool action. And it put in that complete template path for us for the success template. So now if we go back to our project tree, we can see that it's created directories needed for that template path. It's also put in the success VM template for us. So if we open that up, it's pretty simple, just success.vm. So now we'll take a look at the web item. So there's that web item, the really cold web item we created. And it has all the keys and stuff again. And it has our permission condition in there with our parameters, permission and admin. It also added in that cool action link for us. So now let's take a look at the cool action code. Oh, I'm sorry, the plugin properties. We added a whole bunch of keys, and you'll notice that our servlet's still in there, and it just tacked on the new keys that we need for our modules. So it's just appending to that file. Now we'll take a look at the source code for our coolaction.java. Again, pretty simple, just return success, but it automatically extended Jira Web Action support for us. So we don't have to guess anymore what we need to extend. So now if I flip over to the command line and I run atlas run, this will compile our plugin, install it into Jira, and boot up Jira. So here we go. It's going to run our tests. They're successful, and through the magic of video, Jira boots up almost instantaneously, and we can go to a web browser. Here at Jira, so we're going to log in with the default user admin. And once we're in, to see our link, we need to go to the administration section. So we'll head over there. And under the plugins drop-down menu, we have our testing section with our really cold web item in there. So we'll go ahead and click through to that, which will take us to our cool action JSPA. And here's success.vm. So let's flip back over to Eclipse and open up that success VM again and make a quick change, because I want to give a a shout out to a good friend of mine. There we go. Now we'll just flip back over to our browser, hit refresh, and there we go. Hi, Mom. You can see with these new commands how quick and easy it is to create plugin modules. So this is included in the latest version of the SDK, which is 3.6. You can get it at developer.atlassian.com. It really does help you speed up your development, easily create plugin modules. You spend less time going back and forth between docs and IDEs, which means you're getting to coding faster, you're getting to testing faster, and ultimately to drink beer faster. So what's next? We plan to put in a full module set for all of our products. So currently, we have the complete module set for Jira, and all of the common modules for all of the other products. We're also working on automated testing of the generated modules. So we're actually going to automate generating every single module type and then running tests against them so that we can tell when an API change might break some plugins earlier. We're also going to create product version aware generators. So that will give us the ability to do things like generate Jira 5 specific code as opposed to Jira 4.4 specific code. And we look forward to your feedback. So if you find issues or if there's something you don't like, definitely let us know about that. And if you really want that Bamboo module to be included that's not included yet, by all means, feel free to contribute. So you can go to studio.atlassian.com and the AMPS project. Check out the source code. You'll recognize some of the patterns we use to create these things. By all means, if you get something done, submit a patch, and we'll try to get it put into our trunk. Oh, and there is one more thing that we wanted to show you today, but I'm going to bring up Zach and let him explain it to you, and then we'll take questions at the end. So here's Zach.